Good day. My name is David Wild, and this is part one of a five-part presentation on Chapter 16 on Human Resource Management from Connect Master Management 2.0. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to summarize the purpose of human resource management, to explain the benefits of alignment and workforce planning in a human resource system. You'll be able to describe the legal context of human resource management. You'll be able to evaluate a company's approach to addressing discrimination and harassment in the workplace, to evaluate the strategies managers use to recruit and select employees, to identify the impact of employee training and development on an organization's success, to recognize the performance management and compensation systems as primary tools to motivate workers. You'll be able to analyze the tactics used for managing work opportunities for employees and to explain why human resource management principles are important for a career in management. Let us first address the importance of managing human resources. There are a wide variety of tasks that happen in organizations, and all of them involve people. The challenge for organizations is to make sure that the right people are doing the right task at the right time. Making this happen is what we call human resource management, or HRM. Effectively managing human resources is related to many individual and organizational outcomes, including enhanced well-being, lower turnover, increased sales, and financial returns. Historically, the HR department focused on personnel issues, which included hiring and firing workers, complying with state and federal rules and regulations, and providing administrative support with regard to payroll and benefits. Today, in high-performing companies, the HR function has shifted from an administrative function to a strategic one, becoming an important partner involved in devising and implementing company strategies. HR practices are the different tools an organization uses to manage its workforce effectively. Although there are several HR practices and various categorizations of those practices, many researchers and practitioners use a convenient ability, motivation, opportunity, or AMO framework for understanding how HR operates. The AMO framework bundles HR practices into three but interrelated components. The first, the A, is managing employee abilities, identifying, acquiring, and developing employee talent. The M, the second component, is employee motivation, encouraging employees to perform in appropriate ways to achieve company goals. Third is managing employee opportunities to participate, the O in the AMO framework. This means designing jobs and the workplace to provide opportunities for employees to contribute to company goals. As shown in Figure 1, the AMO framework, taken from your text and displayed on screen for your reference. This is an employee's performance, an organization's performance rather, is a function of the people within the organization, and each individual employee's performance is a function of their abilities, their motivation, and their opportunity to participate. Understanding how the components that influence employee contributions work to ultimately impact organizational performance is important. The AMO framework provides guidance for the specific HR practices oriented toward each of the three contributing factors: abilities, motivation, and opportunity. As shown in Figure 2 drawn from your text, which is shown on screen, involving HR domains, HR practices, and AMO components, we can generally argue that skill-oriented HR practices are those that target the knowledge, skills, and abilities of employees, both current and future. Motivation-oriented HR practices are those used to motivate employees to excel in the job. Before we turn our focus to the specific HR practices utilized in the management of employee skills, motivation, and opportunity to participate, it is important to understand that the three AMO components do not exist in isolation. Rather, the components are part of a larger HR system of practices through which synergistic effects on employee performance will emerge. So, in summary on the importance of managing human resources. Human resource management, HRM, is an organizational function responsible for developing rules and procedures for the management of an organization's workforce. Regardless of the business strategy, all organizations depend on people to compete. There are three primary mechanisms that managers may manipulate to impact the productivity of their workforce. Using the AMO framework, managers may influence the abilities, motivation, and opportunities of their employees through different HRM practices. Next, we'll talk about HR systems, alignment, and workforce planning. Because HR practices and how they fit together are important, many researchers look to the idea of HR systems, groupings of practices implemented simultaneously to maximize a specific performance criterion, in our case, employee performance, in order to achieve the organization's goals. Alignment or fit among the practices within the HR system results in synergies where the overall effect on performance is greater than the additive effects of each practice alone. While alignment within the HR system ensures that the right HR practices are in place, we also need the right talent in place. Workforce planning is a process that helps organizations examine the supply and demand of talent needed today and in the future. HR systems and alignment. A basic assumption of HR systems is that the effectiveness of any one HR practice depends upon the other HR practices that are in place. Thus, managers need to implement the right practice in consideration of the other practices within the human resources system. The better the fit among the HR practices used to manage workers, meaning internal alignment, the more likely organizations will realize desired attitudes, behaviors, and performance. In addition to internal alignment, organizations need to consider how well the HR practices support their organizational culture, strategy, and goals. The degree of this external alignment, the fit of HR with organizational and environmental considerations, has been shown to be related to positive outcomes. Research has shown that HR systems can be designed to realize a variety of important outcomes, such as employee safety and customer service. Now, workforce planning. Workforce planning is the process of making sure the right people with the right abilities are where they need to be at the right times to contribute to organizational success. Workforce planning not only considers what each job does, determined through a job analysis to understand the basic task, duties, and responsibilities of the job, and the knowledge, skills, and abilities needed to perform those duties, but also considers what work should and should not be done within the organization and how best to spread the work across individuals performing different tasks. Although historically we have thought about this in terms of managing turnover, the voluntary or involuntary act of leaving an organization, today many organizations are taking a more strategic approach to workforce planning. Businesses have certain demands for talent, and there is only a certain supply of people to do that work. So, how to deal with talent shortages? Dealing with talent shortages can be achieved through a variety of tactics. One common tactic is to hire a new person from outside the organization. Another tactic might be to ask employees to cover the work demands by working overtime. This may be an effective strategy for short-term shortages, but working overtime can be taxing on workers over extended periods of time. A third tactic to cope with talent shortages is to use contingent labor or outsourcing. Organizations may outsource work previously performed on-site to other companies. A company might stop performing one part of its operations and hire another company to complete it on their behalf. Companies may also hire contingent workers on a temporary or contract basis to perform tasks on site. Over the past decade, the gig economy, which is a labor market characterized by temporary and freelance contract work rather than permanent jobs, has been one of the fastest growing segments of the economy, with more than 150 million workers in North America and Western Europe performing service and knowledge-based jobs that range from part-time ride-hailing services like Uber and Lyft to full-time independent contractors. It is estimated that 29% of all workers in the United States today have a temporary work arrangement. So, dealing with talent surpluses. With a talent shortage, the risk is lost opportunities to meet market demand. With a talent surplus, on the other hand, the risk is excessive cost for employing people relative to market demand. One of the simpler ways to deal with a talent surplus is to move workers from an area with a surplus to another area in the organization with a shortage. But sometimes this is not always possible. When moving workers to other departments isn't an option, organizations may engage in a hiring freeze or rely on worker attrition. A hiring freeze entails not hiring new employees for a set period of time. Attrition refers to employees voluntarily leaving the organization, either to retire or to take a job with another company. Furloughs refer to employees taking unpaid leaves. When the problems are more long-term and involve larger-scale labor surpluses, organizations may turn to layoffs. Layoffs refer to a quick reduction in the number of employees through termination of their employment. Perhaps the biggest difference for this tactic when dealing with labor surpluses is the speed with which it occurs and its impact on the organization and, of course, on the workforce. So, in summary on HR systems, alignment, and workforce planning. Within the HR system, all the components of the AMO model must be mutually reinforcing with one another. Hiring someone with creative skills and asking them to perform a job that doesn't use that creativity is not likely to result in good outcomes. Internal alignment of the HR systems reinforces one another, and aligning that human resource system externally with the overall organization context is the optimal scenario to maximize the potential contributions of employees to organizational goals. While alignment ensures that the right human resource management practices are in place, workplace planning or the analysis and prediction of the supply and demand of talent ensures that the right talent is in place today and in the future. So with that, we'll conclude the first part of our lecture on Chapter 16 on human resource management.